Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. This is our Tweakwise webinar together with Tom and Jordi. It's about time to talk about Magento. Our main topics for today are performance, accessibility. Of course, we'll talk about Hyvä Commerce as well. Also, any topics about Magento, feel free to join us as well in the questionnaire. Put your question on the tool. We're happy to answer them during the live webinar. Also, if you have a question to Jordi or Tom specific, let me know. I'll try to moderate and answer them. Welcome, guys, in a lovely Zwolle. Thanks for joining me during this webinar. Let's start with a little introduction at first. Tom, take it away.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. I'm Tom. I'm the new partner marketing manager at Hyvä. Started last Monday, so quite fresh. Do have a lot of experience within the Magento atmosphere. Worked at an agency, worked at a hosting provider, worked for Magento One store back in the day as an online marketeer.
Nice.
So excited to be here and have my first live performance.
There you go. An instant deep dive today. So you will do fine. No worries. No worries. Jordi.
Yes, hi guys, I'm Jordi Scholing. I work for RUMvision as the customer success. We are a tool that is focusing on web performance, so making it easier for merchants, developers, product owners to monitor the performance of their website. Because maybe a lot of people in this audience might already know that a faster website can contribute to more revenue. And,
good teaser. Good teaser there.
And there's a lot of stuff in common with Hyvä and Tweakwise, and I think we can bring a nice story to you guys.
Yeah, let's make a fun afternoon with some relevant topics. To start off today, we would like to discuss accessibility. Accessibility is and always has been a big topic, but now especially it's a very important topic as well for 2025. Tom, could you maybe start and say, hey, why is this such a big topic at the moment?
Well, first of all, legal-wise, from the 28th of June of this year, a lot of online stores, if you have a revenue over 2 million per year or have a company that has 10 or more employees, you need to be compliant with the new accessibility guidelines.
Yep.
So that's from a legal perspective, but of course it's always very important that everyone can visit your online store and make their purchase. Recent research has shown that none out of the top 300 web shops or online stores in the Netherlands are accessible.
Oh wow, that's
a large amount. And if just talking about the Dutch society, 1 of every 3 people have a disability.
Oh wow!
So it's roughly 4.5 million in the Netherlands are in one way or another disabled. So they have problems, ordering stuff online. So it's really important that we tackle these challenges this year. And if you put that in a money perspective, roughly 4.2 billion annual turnover revenue is missed because your online stores are not accessible. And if you compare that to the total amount of 17.5 billion that was done by e-commerce in the first half of 2024 in the Netherlands, it's a huge margin. And
it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's really a lot. Yeah. So
it's not just about inclusivity. It's maybe also, something to think about business-wise.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
Because I think accessibility is important, of course. And yes, there are lots of strict rules regarding color usage and readability and positions of features and functionality. But it's also about inclusivity. You actually would like to invite all of the people who want to buy online and enable them to do so, right?
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of people forget that you also can have for example, a broken arm because you fell while snowboarding in the Alps last week.
Can happen the best.
And you can't use your keyboard or your mouse. So perhaps navigation with your voice or something similar would have been an outcome. But for many online stores, that's not the case at the moment. So very important topic this year.
And just curious here, the Hyvä theme, is that already compliant in a way, or has it already accessibility features? I believe so, right?
Yes, it has. Thanks to our gold partner, Snowdog. They contributed to making the Hyvä theme accessible. But you have to take a look at it this way, that we offer you the tools, but you need to make some changes yourself to be compliant. So Hyvä Teams out of the box is not compliant with all the accessibility guidelines.
You need to implement it properly to get there. Yeah. And then there are also certain standards, so to say, to be compliant. I know of the WCAG guidelines, for example. That's a more or less official report.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have multiple guidelines, but like you mentioned, the online stores need to be compatible with WCAG 2.1 AA.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, exactly. And I believe we're not going into detail about the strict guidelines today, but definitely check them out. Do some Google research, and you will find enough information about all these guidelines and what you need to do. With a click of a button. But I think it's more important that we focus on the positive impact that making your online store or your Magento store accessible. For example, SEO wise, if you make your online store accessible, it also means it's easier for the search machines, Google, to navigate through your Magento store, and therefore making a positive impact on your SEO.
Sure. And we also talked about the ideal customer journey. There are, of course, lots of features to support such a journey. Of course, at Tweakwise, you optimize all kinds of features in the web shop, from filtering to search to sorting of the products. But accessibility is also a very important part to get there, actually. It can be really blocking in conversion as well.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of touching points with the accessibility, performance, relevance. It all starts with the Google search. If you click on the page with a disability or without a disability, you want the store to be fast. You want to see the products you're actually Googling for. And I think we all, like RUMvision, Hyvä, Tweakwise, we all contribute to that. But I also agree with that Hyvä out of the box, or like a RUMvision out of the box, we help you with the bare minimum maybe, or a little bit over that. But after that, especially for accessibility, I would recommend to also spend some time and resources on it yourselves, and not do it because it's a rule by law, but also because you want to do this. I think that's more important.
It's 2025 after all.
So exactly, it shouldn't be too hard, right?
It's about time, you would say, right?
Yeah.
Let's dive a bit more into the performance area of things. You already mentioned, that customer journey, fast performance, fast loading times. That's very important to actually engage people and attract them to your website and actually make that conversion. Could you maybe highlight, first of all, a bit more of the RUMvision tool? What is it about, and what does it monitor actually?
A lot of people will be familiar with core web vitals. So what RUMvision does is it tracks the key pillars that Google decided were important. So largest contentful panes, that is the loading time. For example, when you are on a product detail page, how fast can the user see the first product image, which is probably the most important one. Then there's stability, so cumulative layout shift. When I go to, let's say, from a home page to a listing page, sometimes you will see a lot of dynamic content in a listing page, and dynamic content cannot be cached. So this might cause a small layout shift because the product cards do not have any idea what they should put or get, what kind of product should be there. So then there can be a layout shift. And March 2024 was the most recent update from Google, where they made interaction to next page the core web vital metric, and this is all about interactivity. Loading, stability, and interactivity, because all those pillars can affect user of the customer journey, can also cause frustration, and we monitor this in real time. So a lot of people will know Lighthouse, like the 100 out of 100 score you see being tossed around on LinkedIn. We as web performance enthusiasts are a little bit skeptical, because what you're basically doing is optimizing for a specific kind of bot Google decided was the average of your website. But this Lighthouse test does, for example, not interact with your website. And this might be the same with the accessibility report in PageSpeed Insights, that you have performance, SEO, PWA, and something else. This accessibility test is also just the bare minimum. So you're just limited to a certain amount of tools Google has given us, and they are good, but to do things in real time, you need
that adds way more insights and value to what's actually happening on the. But if I summarize correctly, Google set a sort of standards, and we actually need to comply to be findable, be searchable.
And
please Google a little bit. Actually,
exactly.
Yeah, nice. And of course, at Tweakwise, we do a lot of personalization as well. We see it adds relevance to your shopping experience. It makes the customer journey even more pleasant. But there might be a conflict as well with performance.
Yes, indeed. Like same with RUMvision, to track performance in real time, you need to add a small code on your site. So this might be ironic for performance enthusiasts, because if you add something to your website, it might or might not become slower. Same goes for personalization. Either you're doing this via an API or via JavaScript. If you add more JavaScript to your website, it might cause the interaction to next page metric to be higher. So there are trade-offs, but there's probably for personalization tool, the benefits are higher than the trade-off in most cases. And I still think you should monitor this with Google or Google Analytics to see what happens afterwards, or if you see a IoT metric go up or go down. We always recommend to apply caching where possible. Of course, there's lots of dynamic areas with personalization, but if you can cache lots of requests, well, that's helpful. And then the other side is, well, the dynamic parts, of course, need to be dynamic in a way. But often we see that trade-off being very beneficial. You might lose a few percentage of performance, but it will, increase the conversion of the shop. For a listing page, like the product tiles might be dynamic with personalization, but everything around those product tiles, like a navigation, a logo,
or footers or something.
Exactly. And
they can be cached.
And that's, in my opinion, a no-brainer for tools like Tweakwise, and I think you're also doing this as well.
We support this now with our Magento extension. So caching options, but also easy options to activate personalization. So without any JavaScript.
Always better.
Always better. We keep improving. So that's already released. So that's something merchants already can use.
Congrats with the release.
Always happy to do some. Hyvä. You guys had some big announcements as well last year at Meet Magento, right? Yeah,
that's true. It's 3 months ago already. I had the honors of introducing Willem on stage.
That's right.
Before he did his quite famous Hyvä Commerce introduction now. Like I mentioned, that was 3 months ago. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about the things that are going on behind the scenes. Fortunately, I can't tell you everything, but over the past months, we basically internally made a wish list of the biggest improvements we thought we could make to Magento. Because just to be clear, Hyvä Commerce is a product suite on top of Magento. And then we reached out to all our gold and platinum partners, and then they together we created a wish list from their side as well. So then we had our list and we had their list, And then, we created a top, let's say 5 or 10 list of features we want to add to Hyvä Commerce. One of them is going to be a page builder. So that's
nice.
A little scoop that I can give. Scoopy. So how are we going to continue? We are going to do an alpha release for these gold and platinum partners, most likely at the end of Q1, so the end of March. And then we are going to launch our beta version for everyone, mid-year.
All right. That's already pretty soon.
Yeah, that's pretty soon. Yeah. So as you've probably seen on LinkedIn, the team is growing. That's why I'm sitting in this chair currently. But we also hired a bunch of developers to make Hyvä Commerce happen even sooner. One thing I would like to add to the whole Hyvä Commerce thing is that the Hyvä team and the Hyvä checkout is going to be a part of Hyvä Commerce. And if
that's still a standalone product and will still be available.
Yes.
Okay.
But if Magento stores already have a Hyvä team or use the Hyvä checkout, then they will receive a discount once they are converted to Hyvä Commerce as a whole. So that's also good to mention, I think.
That's a good migration path.
Yeah.
Also financially. Yeah, nice. So some great steps and some proper research you did within the community and within the partner network of Hyvä.
Yeah.
And that made your top 10, top 20 list to actually improve Magento where it's much needed.
Yeah. We want to make the biggest impact we can. We can make from the get-go. So therefore we need input from all our partners to tackle what's most important according to them.
And can you maybe also explain why Hyvä is making this step? Is it because of the lack of development on Magento itself, or do you have other goals with the Hyvä Commerce package?
Well, I would say the ultimate goal is to compete with Shopify
there you go.
as soon as possible. But as everyone knows, Adobe acquired Magento a while back, and they are doing their job on the support / security part of things. Things like marketing and further improvements, we can't really expect that from them. So we have jumped into that hole and trying to improve Magento, make Magento great again.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what people have been saying.
There you go. Yeah, as we know, Adobe is in a sort of a maintenance mode, and like builder functionalities or maybe some new features in the platform that's basically on hold, or mostly towards the more enterprisey solutions from Adobe.
Adobe Commerce,
Adobe Commerce, So very excited about that, and it's already on the horizon, mid to 2025.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. And you also mentioned the how do you say, the migration path. If you're already using a theme or using the checkout, then it should be compatible in a way.
We are going to, I'm not a developer, and
a little disclaimer.
Little disclaimer. I'm just a commercial guy, but of course we try to make the migration path as smooth as possible. And that's basically all I can say. Because
it will be easy.
How in detail, I have no clue. I'm sorry.
I'm certain we'll notice soon, pretty soon. So 2025 is going to be an exciting year again for Magento. Lots of things happening. I would like to round up a little bit regarding some good takeaways, maybe some questions as well from the audience. Now we have Tom and Jordi live, so feel free to drop a few questions. What are your main takeaways for 2025?
I would say, obviously like LinkedIn is flooded with it, but AI is still huge, and also people are like a little bit stressed about performance in regard with AI, because if your website is really slow, an AI agent is not able to, whatever they call it, scrape it down with all the content and feed prompts with maybe a link to your website. So we have had some requests in RUMvision to see if we can maybe see how it correlates with AI, but that's just a black box for everyone, probably, how AI is working. So that would be interesting. And web performance is already important. I think it will remain as important as it is this year. And I think Google is giving us the right tools to get started with it. And new techniques, like also Hyvä in the past, before you were there probably, introduced speculation rules. This is a relatively new technique from Google, which makes it easier for merchants and developers to just literally add a little bit of code to your website, and it will make navigations instant. When you, for example, on a listing page, hover a product tile, the intent or the likelihood of you are going to click there will be high. Then the browser is already loading this page in the background, and that when you click, it's pretty much instant navigation. Third-party impact will be a big thing for 2025, because more and more people are relying on third parties, where I would say, like, if you can do certain stuff yourself without a third party, go for this, because if you are dependent on how well a third party is coded and it's not coded well, a lot of the times you're maybe screwed for performance.
Having issues on performance side.
So keeping an eye on third parties is really important. And with accessibility in mind, the browsers are doing more than we think. So we don't need JavaScript or an external script for every feature on our website. So use as much as the browser has to offer, either for performance and accessibility. So that's where they match a little bit.
Yeah, because there are a lot of browser tools already available within the browser to, let's say, for example, optimize navigation or help you
lazy
with
loading
proper.
being the biggest example. Back in
go.
the days, we had to lazy sizes, a small JavaScript library to being able to lazy load, so not load images that are not on the screen yet, but as of, I'm not sure how long, but some years.
It's quite a while, I think.
You can just use loading is lazy as a HTML attribute, and then the browser will know it's a lazy loaded image, so you can get rid of the JavaScript for that. And the browser APIs are going really fast. So always check first if there's something in the browser that you can use instead of opting for a third party or whatever.
Yeah, some good insights there, Jordi. Thanks. We already got some questions dropping in before you go to your takeaways, Tom. We've got a question from Xiam, if I pronounce correctly. Is there already a developer repository available to explore Hyvä Commerce? I think that's a bit too eager, right?
Yeah, that's a bit too eager. Yeah. So no, not yet.
And maybe is there already an option to register or to pre-register for an alpha release that can be tested?
No, also not yet.
Well, there you go. No. That's the right answer.
No. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, but we are working hard to finalize the roadmap and to start working on the first features, and then the rest will come. The quality before quantity. It's not really.
So probably somewhere mid 2025.
We're looking to like
there will be more available.
To release the alpha version for the gold and platinum partners at the end of Q1, so the end of March, and then for everyone the beta version during the mid-year. So let's say June, July, August. You know how development goes. So
so if you're now a silver partner, I read a post from Hyvä that you can apply for a new badge before 14th of February.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Because if you become gold by then, you will have earlier access to Hyvä Commerce.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want my job? No, that's actually very true. Yeah, we are doing the whole renewing of our partner tiers. So if you are a Hyvä partner or want to become one, please fill in the form
Yeah, upgrade from silver to gold.
Yeah, and you might be able to get your hands on Hyvä Commerce before everyone else.
Soonish.
Sooner. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we've got a question from Lars as well. Lars de Weert. He asks like, "Hey, is Hyvä Commerce becoming a big thing during the Hyvä Developer Paradise events?"
Ooh, that's a very good question. To be completely honest, it's called Hyvä Developers Paradise, and we are on the site involved. But I have no clue whether or not there is already a program. That says what we are going to talk about. I guess it will have to do something with Hyvä Commerce also, but no, I'm not sure.
Maybe get Willem drunk and get him some information.
Ooh, yeah, that's always a possibility. Yeah,
to be announced.
To be announced.
This
yeah,
one. Gotcha. And we've got another question. Let me see. A question from Rick Bijsterveld. Thanks for joining us, Rick. We are using a third-party page builder extension, which is Hyvä compatible. So that's a good thing, I think. But elements are still slowing down performance of our Magento shop.
Okay.
Again, regarding the expected release date of the Hyvä page builder, I think that's coming along with the package in mid 2025.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the page builder is going to be a part of the Hyvä Commerce launch, but it's not going to be only.
It's not a separate thing. It's within the Commerce suite.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Gotcha. So if you have any questions, drop them in and I'll happily answer them together with Tom and Jordi. Tom, regarding your takeaways for 2025, and especially a bit Magento-minded.
Magento-minded. Well, I encourage everyone, if you're a merchant or an agency or a tech partner or technology company, just visit one of the upcoming Magento events.
Good one.
The community is very alive and kicking. Meet Magentos are being organized all over the globe. Florida is coming up, India, France is going to be first this year.
Which
new
city,
edition.
like
Paris.
Okay.
Paris. I saw that the location has been announced, and I think it's just a short mile away from one of the highlights of Paris, one of the many highlights of Paris. So that's very nice, on the 25th of March. But I'm a bit biased. I'm organizing Meet Magento the Netherlands myself, but there's always lots of great speakers, either commercial or technical, that can provide you with lots of new ideas, improvements you can make to your web shop, or just general inspiration. So that will be my
your advice for 2025. Visit as many events as possible. And what I learned from Meet Magento is it's very vibrant. You get a lot of good customer cases, some good tips and takeaways you can already use the next day even. So those events are really valuable. And you're right, I think we don't see a lot of merchants at the events, but I really think it's valuable to join them. So
I think it's also growing, the amount of merchants at an event like this. Like
definitely.
Last Meet Magento Netherlands was my first time there, and I had a fair bit of conversations with merchants. Well, the year before that, I heard from my colleagues that it's a little bit less. So I think that's a good quality.
It's also good to know that, at least for Meet Magento Netherlands, but I think it's for most Meet Magentos, that merchants are allowed to enter for free. So it doesn't cost you anything other than the trip going there.
A day time, perhaps.
And what we are trying to do is that it's, maybe this is a very unpopular opinion, but it's not necessarily Magento-minded. If there is a very big merchant that does something completely it does something completely different from what everybody else is doing, as long as the story is is inspiring, then why should they run Magento? I think if you visited Meet Magento last year or the year before, Easy Toys gave
I heard from stories
a presentation, and they do not run on Magento, but it's a very nice and inspiring story to hear. So
it can definitely inspire the community as a whole, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know, by the way, we didn't mention, but Magento UK is also a really big event, very popular, lots of international guests as well. So maybe we can jump over the pond and hit England one day.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, I hope to go this year.
Yeah, I believe the Hyvä team is well represented.
Yep.
Yeah, enjoy. Enjoy. Let's see. I don't believe there are any additional questions for the time being. Sorry? Oh, there's a question in the chat. Sorry, guys. Here's a question from Artem. Will Hyvä always stick to the same technology stack like Alpine, JS, and Tailwind? Or potentially there are perspectives with new technology options?
Oh,
This is quite a
Developer question.
This is quite a developer's question. We might need your help as well, Jordi, or...
I always wondered, to be honest, from the beginning, like Alpine is lightweight, but I always wondered if there was some regret of picking Alpine in the beginning. But that would be more a question for Willem, probably, or the dev guys.
yeah. There's a lot of dev guys that can probably answer this question, but sadly, I'm not one of them. But
right.
feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will,
LinkedIn or Slack channels.
Exactly. Yeah. Just ask the question there, and then I'm sure you will find the answer.
Yeah, one thing to add there, like we have a third-party dashboard in RUMvision, but it can also show you the impact of first-party. And Alpine JS is obviously a first-party for a Hyvä store, and we saw it a lot. But in Hyvä 1.3.7, they implemented an Alpine plugin for XDefer, and then after the developers or agencies did it for their merge and implemented XDefer, we saw the impact of IMP or impact of Alpine on IMP decreased by a lot. So that was a big step for Alpine. Alpine, I don't know how to pronounce
Alpine is the Formula One racing team, right?
Yeah, Alpine. The library.
There you go.
Hyvä uses, so yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I do know that the technology stack is very stable from Hyvä, as far as I know. But we'll see what happens.
You're also not a developer.
Certainly not. No, big disclaimer here as well. We've got a question from Tanya. The Hyvä page builder, will it work together with the Magento customer segmentation?
Good question.
Ooh,
Also for developers.
I think this is a nice feature request, maybe.
Yeah. Make sure to let us know. But currently, I have no idea. No, I'm sorry.
The goal would be to have different content for different Magento customer segments and stuff like that. I know in the current page builder, you can also schedule content, I believe. But this is way too early, I think, for the current status.
Yeah, this is way too early. I think,
page builder.
if you keep in mind that we would like to compete with Shopify as e-commerce / Magento. So all these new modern techniques, sure, they will be in there or added one day.
We've got a comment from Willem.
Oh,
a helpline, yes. He said, no regrets, Alpine is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, answering some questions there as well in the chat. Thank you, Willem, for these real-time contributions. And I think this is it for today. Answered lots of questions. We've got one last question from Lars and Suzanne. Suzanne, can you tell something about the companies that are already using Hyvä? I think there are many at the moment.
There are quite a lot, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure about the companies. Do you want to hear certain names, Suzanne, or do you want agencies that work with Hyvä or
Hyvä.io/partners?
Yeah. You can always visit the website and see the whole list there. But always happy to send you some names.
And what we see from our end is that it's both B2C, B2B, all kinds of verticals Hyvä is being applied. So it doesn't restrict actually to basically any Magento shop can use it and benefit from it.
Yeah.
Everyone that sells a product.
Yeah, well, there you go. And let me see. The question from Lars is, lots of external modules that are Hyvä compatible are not good for accessibility and performance.
Agreed.
So I hear agreed on the left-hand side.
Oh man. It's like
Lars is requesting, is there a bit more of a minimal requirement for maybe upgrading the standards there?
think it's actually interesting how Shopify did it in the past, but they dropped it. In the Shopify App Store, they had a label that told how big the impact on speed was, and I'm not sure how they said it, maybe a 1 to 10 number, but there's definitely a lot of Magento modules that impact the cache hit ratio or IMP because it adds a ton of JavaScript. And that's basically confirming my point from before. Monitor the impact of your third parties.
Yeah.
And if possible, drop them. And also, I think for a lot of solutions or features one module has to offer, there are at least 5, 6 variants from another module builder. Like you have Amasti, you have some other ones.
Yeah.
There's always an alternative. So playing around with different module vendors for a specific one might be a good idea if you see it impacting performance a lot.
Yeah, I know. I still think that's a big issue within Magento. You really need to know what you're doing, selecting the right modules, how they work together, how they impact front and back end performance. That's quite magical to do right. Yeah,
it's the same issue as WordPress is having. Like with Magento, I would say the average developer is overall more skilled than a WordPress developer because WordPress is way easier to get started. Like I can go home, build a WordPress website, but I cannot go home and build a Magento website probably. And that's why the quality of speed for WordPress might be a little bit lower.
Yeah.
And that's also because people just install a plugin for every small thing on their site. And I hope Magento is not going to the point where everybody's going to install plugins for everything while it's so customizable yourself. So go the extra mile to build something yourself, and you will benefit from it for 5 years or so.
There you go. Yeah. I think that's a nice roundup, Jordi. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out. Send us a DM on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Reach out to RUMvision, Hyvä, Tweakwise. Happy to answer your questions. And well, hope to see you at some of the events planned for this year. Some Meet Magento events, other commerce events, retail events. Nice to meet in person as well. Thank you very much for joining us and joining with all the questions. Thanks for visiting the lovely Zwolle.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
beautiful city.
There you go. Thanks for joining, guys.
Yes,
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.